The plan had been forming for months, the way that desperate things always form, slowly at first, then all at once. She had mapped the security rotations, identified the one window in the eastern garden wall where the camera had been angled poorly after a maintenance crew adjusted it 2 years ago and never corrected it. Noted that Thursday evenings, when her father held his standing dinner with the board of directors in the main dining room, were the one predictable gap in the household's attention. The city clothes she had ordered online through an account she'd opened quietly 6 months ago, using a proxy she'd spent weeks researching, paying in a way that couldn't be traced back to her name. Plain jeans, a plain jacket, ordinary shoes, nothing that announced money, nothing that announced anything at all. She'd practiced wearing them in her room. She barely recognized herself in the mirror. The Thursday came like any other. She ate dinner in her room, claimed a headache, which Marta accepted without question, and waited until the sounds of the formal dining room drifted up through the house, the low rumble of male conversation and the clink of expensive crystal. She went down the east stairs, through the garden, through the gap in the wall, and for the first time in her 22 years of living, Seraphina Hargrove stepped onto a street that didn't belong to her father. The city hit her like a physical thing. The sound of it first layered and alive in a way she hadn't anticipated, the way a recording of rain is nothing like actual rain. Engines and voices and distant music, and somewhere above her a siren that faded as quickly as it appeared. The air smelled different out here. Warmer, more complicated. She walked. She didn't know where she was going. She had a map on her phone and money in her jacket pocket and a pounding in her chest that was either terror or joy, and she couldn't yet tell the difference. She had been told her whole life what she would find out here. Danger, selfishness, people who would see her wealth or the potential of it and act accordingly. A world that operated on transaction and distrust. A world that had wounded her father so severely that he had built 43 acres of barrier between himself and it. She walked for 20 minutes before she saw it. At first she wasn't sure she was seeing it correctly. An older woman, 60, perhaps older, carrying 2 heavy shopping bags had stepped off the curb and one of the bags had split, sending cans and boxes spilling across the road. A car horn sounded. The woman froze. And then, 4 people stopped. Not 1, 4. Strangers. A young man in work clothes. A teenage girl with headphones around her neck. A woman in a business suit who didn't even break stride before she was crouching down. An elderly man moving slowly but moving, reaching for a tin of tomatoes that had rolled toward the gutter. They gathered everything. They handed it back. The young man in work clothes transferred the remaining items into his own backpack and walked the woman to her building 3 doors down, and when she tried to give him something, money, maybe, or a phone number, he shook his head and said